Hello everyone. Justin Crumley back again with another edition of CuJo's Corner. This is the 19th edition of the podcast. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day today. The date is Monday, January 24th, 2022. And before we get started, I want to ask you guys a question. Do you guys like that opening? I made it up. I made it myself. Been kind of working on an opening for a while now, and I wanted to kind of come up with something a little funny. So, yeah. I don't know. I thought it was pretty good, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Probably not a very good idea to, I know I'm being all happy laughs and smiles right now, but we do have some pretty deep things to talk about. If you guys look at the screen, the first thing we're going to talk about is a pretty dark topic. If you guys have been following it, we're also going to talk a little bit about what happened this past weekend as far as the NFL. My dog is going to bark in the background because, of course, she is. Okay, looks like she stopped. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the divisional round over the weekend. It was a damn good weekend to be a football fan. We're going to talk a little bit about Tom Brady. Is he retiring? We're going to talk, should the NFL change their OT rules? My dog's going to bark a little bit more. And, of course, we're going to end things off with an embarrassing story. And it's about skunks. So, it should be a good one. Spoiler alert, guys. No one gets sprayed, but it's still pretty funny. So, stick around. Check that out. Alright, guys. Before I get into this topic, I do want to... I really don't want to use this term, but I guess I'll use it. I do want to issue a trigger warning. If sexual assault or any kind of talk of that stuff kind of bothers you, I'll put a time code somewhere on the video to skip to. If you guys just would rather skip all of this, I understand. I'd rather you guys stick around for the rest of it because the rest of it isn't so dark. It isn't so heavy. So... for sure, stick around for the rest, but I understand if this kind of stuff bothers you. I understand. I'll put a time code right there. It'll be there for this whole segment. At any point, this starts to bother you, or if you just get sick of me talking shit and you want to get on to the more fun stuff, time code's right there. Look, guys. First and foremost, I think about you. That's all I want to do. I want to make you happy. If you guys get sick of hearing me talk about the same thing after a while, there you go. But that's the only time I'm going to do that, because that's the only time I feel like being nice. Well, at least for that part. But seriously, guys, if this stuff bothers you, I genuinely, and you need to skip it, I understand. Just do your thing. I hope you stick around for the rest. And if you haven't skipped already, well, let's get into it. So sometime last week, Michigan reached a settlement with the victims, well, the accusers of Dr. Anderson, but I'm gonna call them victims. I think it's safe to say they were victims of Dr. Anderson. If you guys, I'm sure a lot of you have been following this whole Dr. Anderson thing. In case you haven't, essentially, a whole bunch of students, former football players, former wrestlers, basically came out with stories of sexual abuse from a doctor that worked at Michigan for a pretty long time. Off the top of my head, I don't know how long, but it was a long time. And I made a video a while ago talking about the allegations. And I made a follow-up video to that talking about Bo Schembechler and his involvement in the whole thing, which I'll get to that in just a minute. But right now I want to talk about the settlement. So Michigan has agreed to pay $490 million $460 million spread out across the victims, while $30 million in reserve for any future claims, claims of abuse, for any students going forward, that kind of stuff. Each victim will receive around $440,000. There were over 1,000 victims that came out. I read one article. I got one pulled up here. Let's see if I can give you guys the numbers. I'm proud to announce that a settlement was reached with the 1,050 survivors of robbery. Okay, so if this statement here from Michigan is true, I believe this is from Michigan. Steiner, multiple attorneys at UM spokes, and UM spokespeople confirmed the settlement was reached late Tuesday. Okay, so I don't know who said this quote. I'll link this article from MLive in the description below if you guys want to read it. But according to this quote, there was 1,050. I read another thing that said there was over 2,100. All I do know for sure is that it was over 1,000. And I've said it before. I'll say it again. This was disgusting. The fact that this went on for as long as it did is nothing short of inexcusable. But I'm not going to do that little tap dance again. I want to get into some of the more symbolic aspects of all this. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's talk about Bo Schembechler. Now, I mentioned that follow-up video. I talked about Bo Schembechler's involvement. Now, basically, how the allegations go are that Bo not only knew about these allegations, he actively defended the doctor. And even when his own adopted son, Matt, came to him with his own allegations, his own story of sexual foul play from this doctor, he allegedly didn't believe him and fought to get the doctor, to keep the doctor's job. So Bo was adamant that this doctor was innocent. He basically like his sidekick almost. It's disgusting to say that, but guys, let's call a spade here. And let's be honest, Michigan isn't done yet. This isn't over as far as I'm concerned. Before I go any further, it's more than just Matt Schembechler that have come out. I want to make that clear. John Vaughn did an interview on HBO the week of Michigan-Ohio State where he came out with his own story. I don't remember. I haven't seen the full interview. I've heard bits and pieces of it. If anybody's seen the interview, please tell me about it in the comment section. I do want to check that out, though, to kind of just get more of an insight on what was going on here. There were multiple victims. Wrestlers, football players. It's not just Matt. So when you have, I feel like it's just one of those situations where there's smoke, there's fire. And Michigan just settled on it. This is Michigan admitting that this happened and they don't want it to go to court. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's very simple. And now I'm finally going to answer the question, what do I mean by symbolic? Michigan needs to take down the statue of Bo Schembechler, and they need to rename Schembechler Hall, and they need to go tell the media to no longer bring him up. Don't ever make any more comparisons, Harbaugh to him. They need to distance themselves from Bo Schembechler as far as they can. The only thing, and I want to make this clear, do not twist it, the only thing that should be left with Bo is his records. His wins, his losses, any Rose Bowl titles he won, which off the top of my head, I don't think it was too much. Big Ten titles, all that. Those are the only things that should stay. His numbers, his record, the fact that he was there, and his role in this. This guy was a monster. And that's how we should remember him now. As Michigan fans, we shouldn't be remembering this guy as a hero anymore. I want to make that clear. I'm not going to go crazy and stand on a soapbox and, Oh, Michigan should take that statue down. If they don't, they're bad and terrible. And I'm just going to say this. They need to distance themselves from that man as far as they can. They need to own up to the fact that they screwed up, that these terrible things were happening to their students, and they're not going to tolerate it anymore. And this, going forward, they need to protect their students. Because at the end of the day, guys, what's more important? Future college kids or making sure we remember some dead guy in a positive light? Because at the end of the day, that's all Bo Schembechler is. He's a football coach who, albeit was a good one, I'm not going to take that away from him. But guys, he's a human being. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, he's a scumbag. He is, and he always was. I don't care about the wins. I don't care about the Rose Bowl appearances. I don't care about the Big Ten titles. I don't care about any of the crap, any of the good shit. I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, the dude was a monster. And I think that's how Michigan fans should look at it. But that's just me. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, But I don't know how any Michigan fan out there can defend this. I don't. I haven't seen too many that try to, but I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure they're still going to be out there. They're always going to be out there. But we need to be honest. This is ugly. This is messed up. The only thing we can do, like I said, as fans, we disavow what Bo Schembechler and obviously what Dr. Anderson did. They're both scumbags as far as I'm concerned. I don't even care that they're dead. It is what it is. It's not a subject I want to, like I said, I want to spend too much more time on. It's disgusting. It's gross. I'm absolutely appalled that this was going on, and I think what I'm more appalled about, and I'm going to tell you guys a little personal story before I move on. When Bo Schembechler died, it was leading up to a game between Michigan and Ohio State. Ohio State was number 1. I fondly remember this game. I was in 8th grade. Ohio State was number 1. Michigan was number 2. Both teams were undefeated. It was going to be a hell of a game. And it was. Michigan barely lost. Ohio State won 42-39. Well, during that week was when Bo Schembechler died. I was watching the Red Wings. I think the Red Wings were playing that night. I was watching the game, and they did a little tribute to Bo Schembechler. And, even though I didn't grow up watching Bo Schembechler, the guy I grew up with was Lloyd Carr. So Lloyd Carr is kind of the coach I feel stronger, like I kind of gravitate more towards. But I guess I just felt like I'm just a Michigan fan. I didn't go to the school. I'm not an alum. Been a Michigan fan since I was a kid, and I'm still that. I'm still that way. But when Bo Schembechler died and they ran that tribute, I started crying. I did. I, honest to God, felt sad that he was gone. it was like losing a grandpa, you know? I mean, it's like you know it's going to happen, and you know that's just life. But it still hits you. And it kind of hit me. And like I said, I didn't grow up with Bo. I didn't watch the games. I wasn't even alive. I was born in 1992. He was already gone by then. But it was still sad to me, and I guess for me the toughest pill to swallow has been like I'm finding all this out like in the same time you guys are. Guys, this has not been easy for me to handle either. Even I'm just a fan. I'm just a fan. I can't imagine how it is for the victims, and I'm not going to pretend to. I can't imagine how it is for the family or anything like that. That's why I'm saying I feel like as fans we got to be honest. You know, this is disgusting. This is gross. We got to call this out. You know. I think the last thing I'm gonna say, well, first thing is I'm sorry I went a little longer than I thought I would. I really didn't want to spend too much time on that, and I do apologize. But the last thing I'll say is this: my sympathies, my condolences goes out to the victims. You know, I'm glad they're gonna see some form of justice. You know, they're gonna see. You know, they're gonna get. You know, some of that back in the form of money. But like I said, it's not over yet. Michigan's got to do the right thing. They got to distance themselves from Bo Schembechler. That's all there is to it. All right, guys. I feel like after that incredibly heavy topic, we need to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. Let's talk about something good. This past weekend, we had a damn good weekend of football. I mean, I think I've already said it once on the podcast, but it was a damn good weekend to be a football fan. Unfortunately, I did not see the Cincy Tennessee game. I was hanging out with a buddy of mine at Dave and Buster's, but I know that Cincinnati won. They're in the AFC Championship. It's pretty cool. And look, low key, I kind of hope they make it in. Look, I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to see Kansas City make another Super Bowl. I just don't. I'll get to them in just a minute. The next game was San Francisco, Green Bay. I did see the majority of this game. Yeah, it was a pretty solid game, and yeah, you know, as a man who isn't a huge fan of Aaron Rodgers, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's been pretty fun to see everyone to see everything that's happened. You know, look, I'm gonna be smug, guys. I was happy to see him lose. You know, I don't fucking like the guy. I'm not gonna be shy about it. I really don't like the guy. You know, I think he's a weirdo. I think he went on Pat McAfee's show and acted like a smart guy, even though he sounded dumb as hell. And look, I don't really like the guy. So, yeah, it felt kind of nice to see him lose. uh, you know, gotta hand it to San Francisco, man. They're a pretty tough team, and wouldn't mind seeing them and Cincinnati in the Super Bowl. That'd be pretty fun. It'd be a rematch, actually. Both times Cincinnati's ever been to the Super Bowl, they played San Francisco, so that would just be a little dose of irony if Cincinnati got round 3 with San Francisco. That would be fun. That'd be fun. But yeah, San Francisco's win over Green Bay was pretty fun. Green Bay special teams bit them in the ass. They lost 13-10. Um, it was a pretty tightly played game. It came down to the last minute. It was a lot of fun. Moving on to Tampa Bay and LA. Wow. Talk about a game that looked like it was going to be a complete shit show. I mean, LA got out to like a 20-3 lead or something like 27-3 or something like that, 27-10. I don't even know. But LA was absolutely pounding Tampa Bay at a point, and the commentators started to talk about Super Bowl 53, how Brady and the Pats were down by 28. You know, they were down 25. I'm sorry, not 28. They were down 28-3. And, you know, like, oh, they made the comeback, so who says it ain't possible now? And they almost did. They almost did. Tampa Bay almost made a comeback, but came up short. LA ends up winning the game 30-27 in an absolute shootout. And before I talk about Kansas City Buffalo, I want to kind of give my 2 cents on the whole Matt Stafford thing, because for, you know, and look, I live in Michigan. The dichotomy was real. There were a lot of people that would say, you know, like, oh, Matt Stafford is the reason the Lions suck. Then there's other people that were completely on the opposite end, that were like, oh, Matt Stafford is the reason that the Lions win any games. Then there's guys like me. I'm kind of just in between. I was never really a Stafford defender, nor was I a Stafford hater. I always thought the guy had, I always thought the guy had capability. I always thought he could have been a good quarterback if you gave him, like, the right tools. You know, the kind of like Tom Brady. If you give him the right receivers, the right tight ends, a decent run game, he can make something happen. He can be a great quarterback. You know, his record against winning teams up until this point, I don't know what it is for the Rams, but it wasn't very good. It's like still not. Obviously, it never will be. And I do think there's merit to that. Look, at the end of the day, for me, I think, was Stafford to blame for the Lions, like, shortcomings when he was here? No. Now, was he an absolute victim, and was he just, like, trapped, and he just couldn't get out? No, I don't buy that either. He chose to stay in Detroit. He signed the contract. I will give him credit for finally going up into the front office and saying that he wanted out. Hey, good for him. It's like I said, I was always in between about the guy. I always thought he could have been a great quarterback, and there is some truth to it. And look, there is something to be said. The fact that he's taken the Rams to the NFC Championship, doesn't that kind of make the Lions look even more inept and even more just absolutely ridiculous as an organization? I mean, I think that's where the anger should really be. It shouldn't be at Stafford at the end of the day. I don't think Stafford haters really have anything to say at this point. And Stafford defenders, while I think they can have their day in the sun, I do think that they're, the blemishes on Stafford's resume can't be ignored as a whole. But as for this season, yeah, Matt Stafford has absolutely torn it up. He's been a great quarterback for the Rams. He's playing in an NFC Championship game, and if he wins on Sunday, guys, think about it like this. He'll have as many NFC Championships as Aaron Rodgers. Look, I just felt like pointing that out just because, a lot of Stafford haters and a lot of people that love Rodgers might not like that, but you know what? Whatever. But anyway, I guess what I'm saying is it was cool to see Matt Stafford, a guy like Matt Stafford who has, for the most part, I feel like at times been blamed unfairly for losses in Detroit. Again, I don't want to act like it's, like he's a complete victim and it was never his fault, that it was never on him. He had his bad games in Detroit. He had games where he was responsible for losses. It is what it is. This year and this year alone, I think we all have to agree he's had a pretty damn good year. And he kind of, for the most part, has made the Lions look like chumps. And I say that as a Pats fan, but, I live in Michigan, so what do you want? So the last game, and probably the best one, was Kansas City and Buffalo. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, even though this is a bit of an oxymoron because I am a Pats fan, I was low-key kind of hoping that the Bills would win this one. Again, probably because I don't want the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl. I know the irony of that coming from a Pats fan. I don't care. I'm childish. I hate when my team loses. Shut up. So, Kansas City. Look, it was a great game. I was watching little bits of it with my dad, and we both kept telling each other, like, dude, you can't I said you can't count Josh Allen out. When it was like a minute left, it was like 2 minutes left. Buffalo took the lead. He's like, oh, don't count Pat Mahomes out. I was like, yeah, I mean, for sure. Kansas City goes, and they score. There's about a minute left, like a minute 03, minute 04, something like that. Buffalo had a minute left. They score with 13 seconds. They go up by 3. 13 seconds. Bing, bang, boom. Kansas City sends it to overtime. And then we get overtime. Kansas City takes it. They take it, score a touchdown, close the game. It was unfortunately not the result I wanted, but I got to give it to Kansas City. It was a hell of a game. I got to give it to Pat Mahomes. He had a hell of a game. It was great. Overall, the game was a fun game. I mean, all four of them, take your pick. They were all great. Well, I guess I can't speak for Cincy, Tennessee. I didn't really see much of it, but Kansas City Buffalo was a very good game to end on. So, Championship Sunday, we have Cincinnati, who I don't even remember the last time they were in the AFC Championship. And we have Kansas City hosting it for the 4th year in a row, which is actually a record. So, much as I don't want to see Kansas City in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl, I got to tip my cap to them. That's pretty remarkable. 4 years in a row, and you've hosted the AFC Championship. That's huge. That's insane. Again, got to tip my cap to them. Pretty good. That said, against my better judgment, I want Cincy to win this game, but gun to my head, I think Kansas City is going to win. Now, Cincinnati did beat Kansas City at the end of the year. And Cincinnati, much like San Francisco, they're kind of riding I feel like they're riding this. They have this toughness about them. Like they know they're, they were underestimated coming in. They finally win a playoff game. They beat Las Vegas. And they for the first time in a while. And everybody, I certainly did not have them beating Tennessee. And they did. They, again, I can't really speak much to it, but it always seems to be that there's a wild card team that does really well. And I feel like for both Cincinnati and San Francisco, that's kind of how this is playing out. I mean, that's the other game, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But as far as this game goes, I'd love to see Cincinnati win. The football fan in me, I don't know what the line is, so I guess I can't say if I were betting on it, but if somebody put a gun to my head and said, oh, you need to pick the winner. Who do you think is going to win? I'd probably go with Kansas City, but I want Cincinnati to win. So, we'll see. But till then, go Bengals. Now over to the NFC Championship. We have San Francisco and the LA Rams. San Francisco, I believe, has won the last two, might be the last three against LA, including the last game of the season where LA took a 17-point lead and blew it against San Francisco. Deebo Samuel is playing some absolutely amazing ball right now for the 49ers. Hell, they've been using him as a running back because he's just been so hard to tackle. San Francisco has just looked like a team, and look, they haven't looked super dominant. They haven't looked like they're like destroying everyone, or they don't look unstoppable. But you know what? They look tough. Much like Cincinnati, they look like they can win. Now, much like the AFC Championship, if I'm, look, someone's putting a gun to my head and asking me if I'm picking, like who's going to win between LA and San Francisco, I'd probably pick LA. I think the Rams are playing pretty well. Now, yeah, they did blow a 27-3 lead, a 24-point lead, something like that, 24, 17-point lead, something like that. The Rams have blown a few leads. It's definitely possible. And look, they are the 49ers do seem to be their kryptonite, so who knows? But, we'll see. I'd rather, I guess the matchup I want to see is San Francisco and Cincinnati. I think LA overall is a more complete team than San Francisco, but San Francisco's playing good ball right now, so I think I'm gonna go San Francisco and I'm gonna go Cincy. Those are my picks. Lock it in. That's what I want to see in the Super Bowl. Like I said, logically speaking, it'll probably be Kansas City and LA. Or it realistically could be Kansas City and San Francisco, which would be a rematch from Super Bowl 54, which I don't really want to see. Mostly because I don't want Kansas City in the Super Bowl. So, anyway, guys, what did you guys think of the divisional games over this past weekend? And who are you rooting for to make it to the Super Bowl? Whatever your thoughts are, throw them in the comment section below. And we're going to move on to the next topic, which is one that I guess I knew I'd talk about eventually. Let's get into it. So after the Buccaneers game, Brady was asked a question about where he's going to go from here. And the answer he gave, wasn't the typical, I'm gonna come back, we're gonna come back, I'm gonna be better. No, it was more like, it's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do in 5 minutes. So this started a lot of speculation. And the question is now being pondered. Is Tom Brady finally going to retire? Now, I don't have the answer to that, obviously. Only Brady has the answer to that. But, as far as what do I think goes, honestly, guys, I could see it. I really could. It's not so much that I think his playing ability is decreasing at all. It's more or less just he doesn't really have anything left to prove. I think he's done enough. He's got 7 Super Bowl rings on 10 appearances. His resume is completely off the charts. I mean, it's insane. I was just looking at it on Wikipedia. I mean, yeah, first ballot Hall of Famer for sure. Look, guys, guy has nothing left to prove. So I could easily see him hanging up the cleats. He's 45. Let's be real. He's not going to be able to do this forever. Would I have liked to have seen him win another ring? Sure. Honestly, though, low-key, I'm kind of happy the Bucks were knocked out because now I know for sure there's not going to be a repeat champ, which means the Patriots remain the last team to repeat. So I still have that. But yeah, I guess, like, if this truly is the end of Tom Brady's playing career, it really would feel like the end of an era. It'd also be really different. I feel like Brady's been playing for so long. It'd just be weird to not see him on the field anymore. So, again, I can't really give you guys a solid answer, but I will simply ask the question. You guys can give me your thoughts. Do you guys think Tom Brady is retiring? Do you think he's hanging up the cleats? If so, throw it in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think. And we're going to move on to the next segment here. So in the wake of the Kansas City Chiefs and Buffalo Bills game, the subject about the NFL's overtime rules has yet again reared its ugly head. Now, let's be honest, this is not the first time that this topic has come up. A few years back, when the Pats beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead to go to Super Bowl 53. Apparently, the Chiefs tried to get the rule change. Everybody, all the fans are. I don't know if the Chiefs actually tried to. I don't know, but a lot of people were talking about it then. I'm purely talking about when fans were talking about it. There was the game there was Super Bowl 51, Atlanta, New England. A lot of people were saying, like, they should change the overtime rules so that each team gets one possession. This is not, my point is this is not the first time that this conversation has come up. So I figured I'd throw my 2 cents in on it. Now, look, this might be a hot take, but I'm just going to say it. I hope they don't change the rules so that each team gets one possession. You know what? I like the overtime rules the way they are. I do. I like that it kind of puts your defense on edge and makes it so it's like, look, you need to make a stop. And look, don't hand me this crap about, you just want to, so you want a coin toss to decide the game. No, your defense does. Your defense doesn't step up, I guess you don't win. That's on you. Your defense needs to step up. That's what needs to happen. You lose the coin toss, look, it's part of the game. Part of the game. I also just think you need that sudden death element. Look, I didn't like it the way it was before, where it was like, oh, we're going to drive halfway down the field, we're going to get to the other, 40-yard line or 30-yard line, and we're going to kick a field goal, and we're going to end the game. No, that was kind of cheap. That was kind of crap. I'm actually glad they added the rule where it's like, oh no, if you want to walk off, you need to score a touchdown. You got to go for it all. So me personally, I don't think they should change the overtime rules. And to kind of sum up my arguments, like I said, I think you need that sudden death or that sudden death element that there it is to overtime. It also just, makes it so that your defense needs to step up and stop them. Also, consider this. Guys, Buffalo, you guys had 13 seconds to finish Kansas City off. You somehow didn't do that. Now, you could say, Travis Kelce. Doesn't matter. You're in the playoffs. You're playing good teams. You're playing against good players. Step up and play. I just don't like this idea, like, let's change the rules to benefit a team that lost because recency bias and meh. I don't like it. I like the overtime rules, the way they are. Look, I'm an open-minded guy, so I know this one was kind of short, but we're going to wrap it up pretty quick. Do you guys think the overtime rules should be changed? And if so, why do you think they should be changed? Look, I'm open-minded. If you got an argument, hand it to me. May not agree with it, but I don't think you're wrong for wanting, to change the overtime rules. Look, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Tell me why you think they should change it. Like I said, me personally, I don't think they should. I think you need that sudden death element, and I think you need the, personally, I just like the sudden death element. And I like the fact that the defense has to step up, make plays. That's what I like. So anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think the NFL should change their overtime rules, or do you not think that they should change their overtime rules? They should leave it alone. Whatever you think, throw it in the comment section below. And with all that said, we're gonna move on to the final thing of the podcast. I'm sure this is probably going to grow to become everyone's favorite segment, maybe. It's embarrassing story time. And this one, oh boy, this one's a lot of fun. Now, to be honest, guys, give you a timetable. I don't remember if this happened. I think this happened when I was 17. Maybe I was still in high school. I don't know. Maybe I was. Maybe I was in college. I'm pretty sure this happened in high school. So this is going back a while. You guys know my buddy Vinny. He's appeared on my channel before. We knew each other in high school. We were hanging out, and I was hanging at his house one night. And we went to 7-Eleven. It was like, sorry, I didn't mean to. I was just kind of thinking about how this plays out. We went to 7-Eleven, and while we were walking there, it's like 11 o'clock at night, 11:30, almost midnight, something like that. It was nighttime. Probably not the best time to be out, but whatever. We're a couple high school kids. We're not thinking. It's like the middle of summer too, so it's not like we had school the next day or anything. So we're going to the 7-Eleven. We're just kind of jaw-jacking, probably talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Or wrestling or, I don't know, some bullshit. And out of nowhere, Vinny starts, frantically, smacking my shoulder. And he's like, Jay. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? He points, and he goes, Skunk. And I'm like, what? And he goes, look over there. There's a skunk. And he points. And I look. And at first I thought it was a black squirrel. I was like, okay, dude, that's just a black squirrel. He's like, no, dude, I could see the design on its face. I'm like, dude, it's just a black squirrel. Right in the middle of that sentence, it turned its head towards me. And I saw the little Pepe Le Pew white lines kind of thing. I'm like, oh boy, this is a fucking skunk. So, I look at Vinny. I go, book it. On 3, let's book it. If that thing comes at us, fuck the count, just book it. So I start counting, 1, 2, 3. Now, luckily, the thing didn't move towards us or anything. We started running. and we ran pretty far. And we ran pretty fast. I mean, we ran like our asses were on fire. Now, not going to bullshit you guys. We were both out of shape. So for us, that probably wasn't too fast. But still, by the end of it, both of us could barely, we had to catch our breaths. We ran, like I said, we ran far. We ran like our asses were on fire. We didn't want to get sprayed. Well, wouldn't you know it, Vinny starts smacking my shoulder again. And he goes, dude. And I'm like, what now? And I look, and I see him pointing, and he goes, another skunk. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Another fucking skunk. That would be our luck. And I looked at him, I said, dude, alright, again, this thing took a couple steps towards us. We booked it for 7-Eleven. We were almost there. We just fucking ran like our asses were on fire again. And we come into the 7-Eleven, and the guy he looks at us kind of funny. He's like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, there's skunks out there. And Vinny's like, they were in our path. And the guy's like, oh, okay. Alright. So it's like, yeah. The thing we had to worry about was, were they going to be back on the trail when we went back to his house? Thankfully, they weren't. We went to 7-Eleven. We picked up some snacks, like some junk food, pop. I think we got some taquitos, something like that. Yeah, we just went home and I don't know, that was about it. Like I said, luckily we didn't encounter those skunks again, but yeah, that's definitely a night I'm never gonna forget. For all the right reasons. So anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for today's podcast. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you guys haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I upload videos. All that good stuff. You know what to do, guys. Anything you guys want to say about these topics? I know that first one got a little deep, got a little heavy. Anything else on every other topic? Same as always. Throw your thoughts, your opinions in the comment section below. Let's get a conversation started about all this. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and log off. And until next time, I'm Justin Crumley, and this is CuJo Productions saying, stay awesome.